Hello and welcome to Georgia Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Voice of College Football. I'm your host, Matt Green. My co-host over there, Bo Underwood. Bo, sir, how you doing? Georgia, well, let's start with the lead. Georgia 43, Ole Miss 35. Dogs win. Bo Underwood, my guy, you were in the building. How was it?
I was in the building, man, and it was incredible. I mean, that's about as great of an atmosphere as you can ask for in Sanford Stadium. I did like the first, entire half's worth of third downs. Georgia didn't get a single stop for, but the fan base never stopped believing, man. I mean, that thing was as loud as possible for every single high leverage situation. It was a great environment. It was raucous, and the Bulldogs pulled it out, man. So I'm feeling great, man. How are you?
Excellent, man. It was I'll say when I was most discouraged had to be the first play of the second half, or second play of the second half, when they had like the 2-play touchdown. Dalen Everett with not the best effort on that one, but because I still had in my head that it was like it's just a first half thing, okay? We never stop anyone in the first half. But the second half will be different, and that's literally like the second play of the second half. It's like, uh-oh, we might be in trouble here. But it feels like, because it's Georgia and it's Kirby Smart, it's almost like people want the number one story to be, wow, Georgia doesn't have a defense anymore. It's kind of crazy. Like Herb Street kept saying on the telecast, like, it's so weird just seeing a Georgia defense just get, just abused like this, basically. And while that is a big story about this team moving forward, like they have to improve the defense, I feel like the number one story is Georgia's offense. Like,
Yeah.
they were nearly perfect. 8 drives in this game. Brett Thorson never came on the field. With all due respect to Brett Thorson, but he wasn't needed tonight.
Never
8
did.
drives, 5 touchdowns, 3 field goals. Like, this offense was almost flawless. The field goals I thought might cost us at one point, not scoring touchdowns. But yeah, man, the way they were able to not only score every single time, but just dominate the time of possession. It was this game went, it's hard to say according to script, because Georgia's never trying to give up 35 points. But in terms of the offense, it's like the offense played exactly like, I feel like, best case scenario, what I think this offense can be. And it's, let me pull up the stats here. Like the run game in this game, like, you have 3 guys. Frazier 17 for 72, Bowens 10 for 61, and then Gunnar 10 for 59. It's like, you don't have a superstar in that group, but just together, especially with Gunnar and then Dylan Bell even getting thrown in there, like, just the way this team's able to kind of manufacture yards, almost like it's just, this offense can be very good, and this was the best performance we've seen all season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think the big thing that you and I were harping on this entire week was Georgia needs to run the ball and needs to control the pace of the game so that they're able to keep Ole Miss's offense off the field and be able to mitigate that damage as much as you can. And Ole Miss still scored almost every single time they had the ball. Like, that's a great offense. It's a Lane Kiffin offense, and they were in pretty much total command the whole time. But yeah, I mean, for Georgia to be able to run the ball for over 220 yards, average almost 5 yards a carry, mix it up with different ball carriers, like, we knew going into this game that this was going to be an Ole Miss defense that was very vulnerable against the run, and Georgia took full advantage of that, man. They really did. They ran the ball, and then consequently running the ball when they didn't run the ball and when they wanted to throw it and target, the intermediate areas of the field, the hash marks or whatever, the tight ends were wide open all day. And, Lawson Lucky had a great game, best game of his career. Oscar Delp had a good game. Like, from the offense overall, it was a very complimentary game, and they set themselves up for a lot of success in the intermediate passing game, short passing game, got a lot of yards after the catch. And then the run game was just undeniable the whole game, man. Like, they were on schedule the whole time. Never faced a lot of second and long, third and longs. I felt like every single second down was, 5 yards or less. Every third down was 3 yards or less. Like, they were just getting so much push consistently, and they were avoiding negative plays. And I think that's what made the difference, and that's what allowed them to keep up with Ole Miss, because Ole Miss was really torching them.
Yeah, that's true. Georgia's tight ends in this game, 9 for 85 and 3 touchdowns. Obviously, Lawson Lucky doing a lot of the heavy lifting with the 3 touchdowns, but he had 5 for 43 and Delp had 4 for 42. And even Elias Williams, forced the pass interference at one point when he got in the game. But yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, like we talked about Georgia on third down. It's like they decided to not be terrible on third down today. They just went ahead and were terrible on second down. It was insane how many first down incompletions. I don't have it tracked, but it felt like Ole Miss was in 2nd and 10 like most of the game, and on second down they would just get, if not 15 yards, they would just get 8 yards and it'd be third and manageable. Like Georgia's getting torched on second down basically. I need to dig deeper into those numbers, but it felt like that's where the issues were. But yeah, I mean, seeing the time of possession there, 37-39 to 22-21, like it felt like Georgia's offense was on the field the entire game, just about. And when they weren't, obviously Ole Miss had a lot of success on offense as well. It was to see a team score 5 touchdowns on their first 5 drives of the game. We've never seen that in a Kirby Smart team. We probably have never seen it 4 touchdowns on the first 4 drives. Although Alabama probably did that last year, right? But yeah, it was as always, it's like maybe they're not a second half team, but at some point Georgia seems to adjust. And then in the fourth quarter, what did they have on that final drive? Did they get like 1 first down, like maybe 12 yards or something? I know before that, what was it? Yeah, 5 plays for 12 yards on that final drive.
Yeah, they ran the ball for a first down, then they had 4 incompletions.
Yeah, so in the fourth quarter, Georgia had 145 yards to Ole Miss's 13 yards. So they just, at some point, they made the adjustments and they started getting 3 and outs and they started getting off the field. And it was good to see. Better late than never, because that's what, like, just, I don't know, maybe I'm sensitive to it. I'm a sensitive Georgia fan, but it felt like the broadcast was just kind of talking about how unstoppable Ole Miss's offense was. And for obviously the first 5 drives they were. But you look at what Georgia did, 510 yards of offense compared to 351 for Ole Miss. Like, and the balance too, like you were saying, like 289 and through the air, 221 on the ground. Like, it was pretty much perfect. And man, that fourth down, that could have been the ball game. Josh McCray, that play just got absolutely blown up, and somehow he was able to get that fourth down. Yeah. Massive play in the game for sure.
Yeah, I still don't know how that ended up being a conversion. I thought that was completely, like you said, just blown up and everything. But yeah, Georgia was money. I mean, pretty much every single, like, Ole Miss, I understand that Georgia outgained them by 150 yards, and you look at it and it makes it look like Georgia just outproduced them by a lot. But that's really just a ball control stat. I mean, every single time Ole Miss had the ball for 90% of the game, they were walking down the field and scoring touchdowns, and Georgia had no answer for them. And that definitely is something that needs to be addressed after the game and needs to not be the case going forward. But yeah, like, Georgia just did an incredible job of running the ball, keeping things on schedule, and playing about as much keep away as they possibly could have against that high-powered of an offense, because Ole Miss was pretty much getting everything that they wanted for the entire game until the very end. You know, their last – they had 2 drives at the end, right, that fell in their face, and that was it. Everything before then, they were scoring touchdowns in every possession, and they forced Georgia to be in catch-up mode. And
yeah,
that's not – you and I were saying, like, the whole week, we were like, hey, if Georgia is, if their defense is just getting cooked the whole game and they're having to answer with touchdowns every possession, we don't really know if Georgia can keep up with that. We don't really know if Georgia can be the team that has to answer with a touchdown every single time, because there's really no team in the country that you can point at that can be like, oh, if their defense gives up a touchdown every possession, we feel good about their ability to immediately punch back every time. Because you're never supposed to have to play football that way. Like, yeah, that's not how it's supposed to go for you. And if it is, then you probably are going to lose. But the fact that Georgia had an answer just about every single time for what Ole Miss was doing, that was the main thing for me, man. I know Gunnar Stockton is going to get all of the credit, and he deserves a lot of the credit. He accounted for 5 touchdowns. But I really think this is just a crazy team effort, man. The offensive line, the tight ends, the receivers after Colby Young went down, the running backs had a great game. I mean, this is about as complete of an offensive performance as you can probably ask for from this team. And that was not something that we were really counting on seeing going into this game. So that was incredible.
Well, and I think the difference tonight was that they were like, it's like they were playing keep up. They weren't playing catch up. It's like with like 4 or 5 lead changes in the first half. It wasn't getting down 21-7 versus Tennessee, or getting down 14-0 versus Alabama, or even 10-0, which was almost 17-0 against Auburn if they score on the goal line there. So it was like, Ole Miss went up 7-3, then Georgia goes up 10-7. Then they go up 14-10, Georgia goes up 17-14, and then 21-17, and then Georgia gets the field goal before the half. But yeah, I think, Georgia, if they're scoring touchdowns instead of settling for field goals, it's like they could have put up a 50 spot in this game. So that's another thing too, like getting touchdowns instead of field goals. But it felt like Georgia's offense was the best defense that they had tonight, because the first 5 times Ole Miss got the ball, they scored touchdowns. But the crazy part about that is they only got 3 possessions in the entire first half of the game. So the fact that Georgia was able to keep their offense off the field is really the only reason they didn't go for more points, because they were basically doing whatever they wanted to for the first 3 quarters.
Yeah, I don't feel all that differently about Georgia's defense after this game, to be honest. Like, they did a lot of good things. They really limited Ole Miss rushing attack. They held Ole Miss to, I think, less than 4 yards of carry. And I think Chambliss had – Chambliss' stat line was 19 of 36 passing. So he barely completed over 50% of his passes, which definitely ended up playing a big role, was just a big thing down the stretch. But Georgia's defense, once again, just could not get off the field for this one, man. And they were not in many situations until the end of the game where it was 3rd and long and they had to convert. Every 3rd down they had was 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, and they could call whatever they wanted, and they got it every single time. Both of these teams in this game wound up over 50% on 3rd downs, converting them. Like, people are going to say this a lot in the aftermath of this game, but it's kind of true. Like, defense was kind of optional in that first half, man. It was 21-20, and both teams got points on every single drive that they had. And that doesn't reflect well in Georgia's defense. It really doesn't. Georgia's defense is definitely still a concern. But the big positive that's to be taken away from this game, if you're Georgia, is like, our offense can keep us in games, and not only did they keep them in the game tonight, they won them the game.
Yeah, and I think that's why that Alabama loss was so disappointing, because it felt like, even how the game went, obviously the 4th down they got stopped on, the big time drop they had, but it felt like, just with the way they played, it's like they should have scored 30 points in that game. So it felt like, if you're going to give Alabama 24 points, yeah, that's enough that Georgia can win. And so Ole Miss got 35, and Georgia was still able to do enough. Tennessee got at 38 in regulation, 41 obviously in overtime, and Georgia's able to win that game. So that's multiple games this year where Georgia's offense has been good enough to basically carry them with the defense not getting stopped. So it's really encouraging seeing this line from Gunnar Stockton: 26 of 31, 289, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 59 yards on the ground, a touchdown. Does he have a rushing touchdown in every game this season, or every like important game? Like maybe not the cupcake games.
I mean, he had one of the cupcake game too, week 1. I don't know if he scored against Austin Peay, but I know he scored against Tennessee, Ole Miss, Alabama.
Yeah, let's see here. He had two versus Marshall, none versus Austin Peay, 1 versus Tennessee, none versus Alabama, and then 2 versus Kentucky.
Oh, he does
1 versus Auburn.
So he did for against Alabama. But yeah, Gunnar. I mean, dude, Gunnar Stockton is a dude, man. I mean, the whole time this game again, like he didn't have. I think the only time he had the ball when he was ahead was at the end when they were kneeing it. So every single drive they were saying, "We just got punched in the mouth. Gunnar, go respond and go get us back in it." And he did it every single time. 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 through on the ground. I mean, that's lights out, man. I know that Ole Miss is not a premier defense in college football. And, we were saying before this game even happened that their run defense was suspect and it was vulnerable and all this. But Gunnar Stockton has had this is 2 performances now this year where Georgia has allowed a ton of points and they have needed their offense to respond in the worst way over and over and over and over again. And Stockton has just done it, man. Stockton has just come through for them. And that's everything that you need to see from the quarterback position for me, man. He's not going to win the Heisman this year or anything like that, but like
I'm not ruling it out, sir.
They've got one, man. Like Georgia's really got one, dude. Gunnar Stockton is a player.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's now what is he? 10 touchdowns, 1 pick on the season, 7 rushing touchdowns. Like dude's making some plays. That's for sure. But I just thought this offense was just so good tonight, and it felt like a game where you needed every bit of it. Like I guess the second to last drive would have been the first one where they had. Well, no, I guess there's a few lead changes throughout the game, but
yeah, there were.
Now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah, it would have been nice. I would have felt a lot better if we could have got a touchdown on that last drive, but instead we had to just kick the field goal to make it 8. To sweat out the last couple minutes.
Yeah, I was like, I would have gone for that, and everyone was like, "Shut up, dude. We know." But yeah, I would have gone for that. I mean, there's something to be said though about the fact that Smart still trusted the defense there and was like, "We're gonna go up 8 and keep it 1 possession." And just trust our defense to hold them for the length of the field, because that's what they did. And that stamp of confidence in your defense when they've had a pretty bad season overall, trusting them to go out there against a team like that and watching them get it done is a big deal. That could really turn the tide.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanna break in here for I'm not gonna call it breaking news. We'll just call it a game break, sir. Tennessee, Alabama is about to be at halftime. Do you remember the Sean Jones play against the Tennessee Volunteers in 2003 by any chance?
I was born in 2003.
For those old heads, I know they remember it, but Tennessee, it's in Knoxville. I think Georgia's up like 14-7. They're going in they're on the 1 yard line trying to punch it in at halftime, 5 seconds left in the half. So they try to punch it in. It's a fumble. Sean Jones picks it up, runs 95 yards for a touchdown. The whole place is shocked. That's what just happened in Bryant-Denny Stadium, sir. Tennessee was down 16-7, 7 seconds left on the 1 yard line. They throw a little out route and he got picked off, taken back 100 yards for a touchdown.
Oh my God.
So they were about to maybe cut it to 2. And now it's 23-7 going into a half. Yeah, so Alabama just busted that thing open. Wow.
Average Alabama play.
Yeah, man, that was.
Like that. They always have, oh my God, we got an 80-yard defensive touchdown. Yeah, okay, guys.
Yeah, they went the full 100 this time, but
that's.
But back to this game, sir. But yeah, it was. I don't know what to say about this defense. I felt like there was the one pass interference call in the end zone. Was that they never showed a replay on that one. I feel like it was a phantom
on
pass
Robinson?
Interference on Robinson. We got 2 in a row.
On the running back pass. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but unless it was early, I did not see anything on that one. But the one before that, I don't know. You gotta, make a play on the ball. That one's questionable, but I'm not gonna sit here and complain about individual calls. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like no one's getting big plays. I'd like to see the big play numbers. Obviously, other than the Dalen Everett, that play was like inexplicable. Honestly, I don't know if you've seen the replay of it yet since you were at the game, but yeah, it's like he wasn't even close enough to get juked. It was like he just ran around him and then just ran 80 yards for a touchdown. But yeah, that I don't know how big that tight end is for Ole Miss. Was he like 6'7"? That dude was huge. He was a mismatch in this game, but yeah, this Georgia defense, it's hard to explain because they didn't run all over them. They had some success, but I mean, you hold Ole Miss to 88 yards on the ground. I think that's that's going more to your plan than Ole Miss's plan. Excuse me. So I don't know. It's hard to explain. They got torched for five drives in the last 3. They gave up nothing. So eventually they turned it around, but
I mean, I don't think it was a secret to anybody going into this game that ball control is going to be a big thing. I mean, I was banging the drum on that all week leading up to this game, but it ended up being more important than I think anyone could have realized because, yeah, Ole Miss played flawless offensive football for the first 3.2 quarters of the game, maybe even more than that. I mean, they scored 5 touchdowns.
Just three because they didn't do anything in the fourth.
Scored 5 touchdowns on their first 5 drives. I mean, good Lord, that is the best possible start you can ask for. And really, the only reason Georgia was able to, kind of hold up a handkerchief to that and stop the bleeding a little bit and salvage it was because they were just running the ball so well. That's what it came down to is, I mean,
because they only got 5 drives in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah. I mean, there was one play where I think it was a 3rd and 7. They gave it to Bowens, and it was just a brilliant ball by Bobo, and he got 20 yards or whatever. Stuff like that, man. I really thought this was an excellent game from Mike Bobo. I mean, one of the things that we haven't talked about yet is Kirby Smart has said that the fear right now is that Colby Young has a leg fracture and he might be out for the season. And that's their number 1 receiver, obviously, who had a 36-yard catch or whatever on the first drive of the game. But Colby Young might be done for the year right now. And if he is, that blows. Obviously, that sucks. That is a crushing blow to have happen for this offense. But the silver lining is in a game like this, they were able to run the ball and they were able to spread it out across their pass catchers. And they were able to really get the tight ends involved. I mean, we haven't talked about Lawson Lucky enough. Lawson Lucky had the best game of his freaking career. That kid had 3 touchdowns. I mean, this was probably the best game from Georgia's tight ends that they've had in the post-Brock Bowers era. I think easily. I don't think that's a debate. I mean, the tight ends were money today, and that was huge. That allowed them to run. Like, they were running the ball, and it allowed them to kind of camouflage the tight ends. They could block and kind of sneak out and be wide open. How many times did that happen today, man? I mean, the tight ends were just money, especially Lucky.
I know. Bobo really he was really dialing up some great calls in this game. Like that little release they had to Delp, like just throw off the little short one, but also the touchdown to Lucky, the first one, because that was everyone on Twitter was going nuts about that's the worst play call of the season. The Cash Jones little running back pass where you got cute and Cash, you're a running back, take off and run or throw it away. Like, come on, man. But yeah, it was that was terrible. But the very next play was that little where it looks like you're throwing a screen to Branch, and Branch is just so dangerous that so many people are looking at him and then Lucky just leaks out.
Yeah,
the kind of little wheel route for the touchdown, like just wide open. That was just another great call by Bobo.
And that's what you can do when you have playmakers on the perimeter. And that was not the case for Georgia last year. Like, there was nobody that Georgia had out wide after Colby Young got suspended, especially, that really scared defenses. There was nobody that they really felt like they had to game plan for. And so, yeah, those plays where, you can kind of force the defense to focus on one guy and then it allows another guy to kind of, Peter patter his way over the line of scrimmage for for a big gap and a big lane, turn up the field and get some yards. They couldn't do that last year. But now they've got Zachariah Branch, and they don't have Colby Young anymore, but they've got Noah Thomas, and
I'm
they've
afraid
got
not.
they have my. I don't mean to gas up Noah Thomas. Noah Thomas has made a couple good plays. That's been about it. But Branch is a threat who you have to account for. Young was a threat that you have to account for, and when you have to account for guys, you have to leave other guys open, and that's exactly what happened today. Delp and Lucky have been kind of the thing about them has been like, okay, yeah, they're not the absolute Martian alien that Brock Bowers was, but they're really good players, and Georgia could do a lot with them if they're able to unlock the rest of the offense. Well, I think tonight you saw that in full force, man. I think you really saw Bobo in command of all three levels. He commanded the running game. He did a great job of getting guys open intermediately, and then when there were shots open, he took them too. I think even Gunnar had a flawless game. I'm not going to sit here and nitpick what Gunnar did, but there were a couple of plays where Gunnar had Delp open up the seam wide open for a touchdown. He didn't throw it because for various reasons. I know a lot of football is very complicated. I'm not saying, oh, you had him, you should have thrown it. But, my point is, man, the fact that Georgia has playmakers now that have gravity across certain areas of the field that force you to, come down here, come up there. You can do stuff like that, man. You can get your tight ends open to space a lot easier. And sure enough, Lawson Lucky had 3 touchdowns today.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate if Colby Young is out for the season because he is such a dangerous guy one-on-one. But at least this is a game where you played, 90% of it without Colby Young. So you are capable of putting up a 40 spot without him. But yeah, that's why it's just so dangerous. I feel like why that offense with Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers was so dangerous because your run personnel can be your pass personnel. So I feel like Lucky and Delp are both significantly better athletes, I think, just as far as receiving weapons than Darnell Washington.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably not the blocker, but
dude, Darnell Washington should be a tackle.
Honestly, what is his name? Jason Peters. That should be his career path for sure.
Dang, he was in the league for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. So, but Delp and Lucky, they were such a impact players. Dylan Bell's long catch. I felt like that
great game. Hey, that's 2 games in a row.
Play of the game.
And I'm a guy that's been pretty down on Dylan Bell just throughout 2024 and into this year, but it's only because, Colby Young got suspended last year and Ra Thomas got kicked off the team, both because of their respective legal issues. And Georgia just didn't have a guy that can come in and play the X. So Dylan Bell had to do it, and that's just not Dylan Bell's game. Dylan Bell can be a very, 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 very fun gadget guy. He's a great just ball carrier. You get him the ball in space, he can make some things big. And we saw that today, and we saw that against Kentucky a couple weeks ago. That's the one silver lining with Georgia right now is yes, Colby Young is your best wide receiver, and there's probably a more than 50% chance right now that he is not going to play for Georgia again. And that sucks. That is, I mean, that is something I'm not going to gloss over. I'm not going to act like just because they won tonight that isn't going to affect the team. But what I will say is that they have Noah Thomas now. They at least have a guy that you can look at and say, this is going to be the new X receiver. This is going to have to be the guy that steps in and does the things that Colby Young did the rest of the way. It's going to fall on Noah Thomas. He didn't do anything tonight, but, last week against Auburn made maybe the biggest play that Georgia's got all year. So at least you're better off this year with that injury than you were last year, because last year when Young got suspended, it really did just kind of take away an entire element of the offense that ultimately down the stretch cost them dearly and resulted in their offense just not being good down the stretch. But I don't think that necessarily has to be the case now if they get good football out of Noah Thomas throughout November, which I think they can.
Yeah, because Zachariah Branch is also, I think he's like the definition of a gadget guy. It's just like get the ball to this guy in space. He
That,
did. Yeah, I mean, he definitely is. He had that contested catch down the field
that guy
in
can
this
run routes
game.
for you, man.
But
Dylan
yeah,
Brooks can run routes.
yeah, 8 for 71 in this one for Branch. Like he's just he's different, man. The way
Mm-hmm.
that dude moves, he's just a
Mover.
playmaker. He just makes this Georgia offense so dangerous. Like the screen game that Georgia wants to do, like he's a prototype for that.
Yeah, he's a special mover, man. I know that his statistical production has not been otherworldly this year, and maybe I'm even overhyping him a little bit, but I really don't think I am. I really think that the presence that he has on the field and the fact that defenses know that whenever he gets the ball, he's liable to just turn it upfield and crib it. Like that matters, man. And Georgia hasn't had a guy like that since. Would you say Hardman? I mean, it's been a long time, really. And Brock Bowers. But Brock Bowers
Yeah,
is
that's true.
Brock,
Brock
Brock
Bowers.
Bowers. Brock Bowers is not of this earth. That's a different guy. Like we're not.
McConkey was definitely a big time
Yeah,
playmaker, but
McConkey
yeah,
was as well. But we
not the
didn't
straight
get.
line speed that
Yeah,
Hardman or
McConkey would be a good answer to that, but we just didn't get enough of McConkey.
yeah.
McConkey was just never healthy at any point, really, in his college career. So that to say, like, yeah, Branch is just. I know he's not off the chart statistically, but dude, I mean, he catches the ball and he hits that top gear immediately. And when he hits that top gear, like you're not catching him. And that's a big deal, man. Like when you pull defenders like that underneath and you kind of open it up for guys to be able to kind of leak out a little bit over the middle of the field, that's how you get 3 touchdowns from Austin Lucky, man. That's how you get Noah Powers open down the field. That's how you get, Colby Young open down the field, which I know is not going to be a thing going forward probably, but like guys having gravity and commanding defensive attention, that was not a thing for Georgia last year. They had to respect Arian Smith deep, but even then it was really just like, oh, make sure Arian Smith doesn't like cook us on like
run straight past you.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't literally run straight past us or like turn up on a post, like we're good. That was really it, man. That was Georgia's only source of like field stretching last year. And I think now they've got way more means to do that, even with Young out, which again, that is a really bad injury for them and will definitely make their offense down the stretch, but they're much better equipped to recover from that than they were last year.
Well, and this might not be the best time to bring up Carson Beck after his performance on Friday night, but I feel like Carson Beck had to be watching after that catch from Dylan Bell, had to be like, dude, if my guys could have been making some plays like this last year, like our Georgia's offense could have been so much different because as good as Stockton's been, like it's been a lot of guys making plays, like just third down conversions that like Lennon Humphrey's been just such a great target on third down. It seems like every time, like Zachariah Branch has had a lot of contested catches. That one of those lucky touchdown catches, the guy was hanging all over him. Like guys are making plays. Like Stockton's doing what he's got to do, but like to just not have the drops. I don't remember a drop in this game. Like it's just I can't remember. It's been a while since you had a Georgia team that just didn't drop passes. And after last year, it's just that's like the most refreshing part.
Yeah, I did think that earlier in the game they were leaving some yards on the table. I was frustrated with Stockton missing a couple throws that delp up the seam.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. After that first quarter, like they were probably getting 95% of the possible yards they could have gotten. I know that's not a real stat that any real person uses, but that's just how I'm trying to communicate it.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
There were not a lot of missed plays. They were not leaving that much stuff on the field, and that is big time. That was really not a thing last year. Is like, last year it would be Carson Beck would evade 3 defenders in the defensive backfield and then flip his shoulders at the last second, fire a dart, and then the guy would just drop it. And then the next play he would throw an interception.
Yeah.
And like that's what really sunk the offense ultimately is just that those frustrating moments just compounding onto each other, and that really wasn't the case today at all. I mean, like, I watched the game with my great uncle, and who's the man. I mean, he's as seasoned of a Georgia fan as they come, and he was just like, I've never seen us have to respond so many times offensively and just have to deliver. Like, I really think the last time Georgia was, you could say maybe the Ohio State game, but in 22. But I was gonna say I think the last time Georgia had their just back against the wall, gotta have it. That many just gotta have it drives in a row was against Baker Mayfield in the Rose Bowl. I mean, they had to respond every single time they touched the ball.
I'm not sure. I feel like it's happened all season. I think that was the Tennessee game.
Tennessee, yeah, but dude, Tennessee did Tennessee score 5 touchdowns their first 5 drives? That's not rhetorical.
I'm sure they didn't, because that had to be the first time it's ever happened tonight. But I know they were up 21-7
too. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I don't need to act like that's as of a out, like, it is an outlier. It is kind of historical, but it might not be as abnormal as I'm acting like, but
it's abnormal, but it's normal for 2025 standards.
Anytime you're playing ball and you literally need to get 7 going the length of the field every single time, and you actually do that, that doesn't happen, man. Like, you lose. If you allow 5 touchdowns in the first 5 drives, you lose. You don't win. You deserve to lose. And it says so much that Georgia was able to just take a punch and give a punch over and over and over again. That is, as much as, the sport has changed and players have become more empowered, and we've got guys transferring and we've got guys getting big NIL bags. Like, I think games like this will really show you that this is still a coaching sport above all else. This is a composure mentality sport. And Georgia epitomizes that to me.
For sure. I mean, this team just does keep finding ways to win. For those of you wondering, Tennessee scored touchdowns on their first 3 drives that game. Okay. And then it was punt, interception, punt, interception.
See, they had a great first half. They had a great stretch.
Georgia, they had second, third quarter, they had 5 straight stops and forced 2 turnovers. But so they had the one stretch, and then Alabama, what was it? Did they score on their first 4 drives? I want to say 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
I think they got 24 on their first 4 drives, and they didn't score.
So but then you shut them out for the entire second half. So no, they did have a punt in the second quarter, but so 4 of their first 5 drives, they scored, and then for the last 2 quarters, you shut them out. So Georgia's doing something for some stretches of the game. But they're just getting scored on way too much. And one guy we probably haven't talked about enough is Nate Frazier.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like he was kind of being left for dead, after his fumble issues, and he feels like he's kind of taking the number 1 running back spot back in this Auburn and Ole Miss game. 17 for 72, and then Bowen's 10 for 61. Just both of them were pretty solid in this one. Also, oh, go ahead.
No. I didn't have much to add other than that's a big game for Frazier's just narrative as a player and just as a guy. Like, he was being written off a lot because of that fun, but like, he's the most talented running back in that room, and I think today kind of showed you that.
For sure. And then Stockton, it was nice to see, because it feels like a lot of Stockton's yards to this point have been like designed runs yards. It was nice to see like multiple pass plays where he's taking off and like that one play, it looked like he could just throw it away here. And he's like, actually, I could probably run around and pick up like 8 yards here on like whatever 2nd and 5 or whatever it was. But he was just making some plays out there, because I was looking at Ole Miss's rushing yards, like 24 for 88 and 4 rushing touchdowns. Like that's fine rushing performance, but just in terms of, and obviously all rushing yards count, but Trinidad Chambliss is 9 for 42 of that. So that's some of Chambliss's yards, and shout out to Chambliss. I mean, that dude's a baller. But some of his were design runs, but I would say at least half of his yards were, if not more, were just scrambles, and he was making plays. just because he's a playmaker. But Kewan Lacey only had 12 for 31. Deuce Alexander 2 for 11. Winston Watkins 1 for 4. So like if you take out Chambliss's yards, which obviously they still count, it's what 15 for like 46 on the ground.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the defensive line. Or there is something to be said for like actually running the ball. They were successful if we're trying to find positives for this defense. But yeah, other than that, that's probably the most positive you can take away, and how they played in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest reason that Georgia was able to kind of outpace Ole Miss, because this game was, by all means, this game was a track meet. This game was who can score more points, who can get the least amount of stops. And I think the reason that Georgia was ultimately able to just kind of outlast Ole Miss in this game was because Georgia didn't have to be one-dimensional throwing the ball or just on offense. They could throw the ball, they could go play action, they could run the ball, they could attack all three levels of the defense. And Ole Miss really, it didn't really bite them that much earlier in the game, that they were always kind of living in second and long because, like you said earlier, they would always just pick it up every single time. Like they would have 2nd and 10, and then they would get a 20-yard pass on the next play. But ultimately, I mean, it didn't end up shaking out that way the whole game because they were unable to, get a lot of push in the run game. And I think Georgia was able to do that. That's why Georgia got 15 more minutes of time of possession. That's why Georgia was just facing every third down they had was like a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. And that was the case for Ole Miss for a lot of that game too. I'm not going to lie. But when it really came down to it in the fourth quarter, and once Georgia got that, that second play on 2nd down, once they started making the plays on 2nd down in the fourth quarter, Ole Miss was kind of easier to read, man. They were easier to defend, and you could get in your 3rd down and long and personnel quicker. And I think that ended up making a difference. This Ole Miss running game just couldn't keep them ahead of schedule and couldn't keep them ahead of the sticks the same way that Georgia's was able to.
Yeah, and that one 3rd down conversion that you referenced earlier with like 3rd and 7, where Chauncey Bowens just picks up like 17 or something, like that was that I feel like kind of set the tone. It's like this Ole Miss team's been run on all year. Like Georgia's run the ball well this year. We should be able to run all over this team, So that was a really encouraging sign for this game. But not to be breaking news again, but just put on your radar, sir. Kentucky just scored, and it's 10-10 in the fourth quarter. Kentucky, Texas. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. But anything else to say about this game, sir? We got a bye week coming in, and then the Gators coming up.
Excellent timing on the bye week is what I'll say. And they need better play out of the secondary, and they need to be more consistent. And I really hope Colby Young isn't out for the year, but he probably is. So
yeah, I'm afraid he is. That's the most negative to take out of this game. Other than that, it was just an incredible game in Sanford Stadium. Georgia now 8-0 when College Game Day comes to Athens. Since Kirby Smart's been the head coach, it's nice to win these big games. When the big game atmosphere in Athens. I'm sure there's a bunch of recruits at this game and all of that. So. All of that's good, but yeah, Florida. Did you catch the end of the Florida game? How it ended?
No.
So Florida's got like a 3rd and 1 with like less than 2 minutes left, and instead of running the ball, they try to pass it, and Lagway loses like 5 yards, and then Mississippi State comes all the way down. They're like inside the 25 or so, like 20 seconds left, down 2. They can kick a field goal and win it, and they pass, and a defensive lineman picks it off with like 10 seconds left, and Florida escaped. So Florida, they're probably happy to get to the bye week as well. But yeah, the cocktail party is always interesting. Florida obviously had the big win over Texas, but I'm not sure how good Texas is at this point. they're in a dogfight with Kentucky now here in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I'm just, maybe it's just the 1990s Georgia fan, or in 2000 Georgia's fan in me, that I'm never easy about the cocktail party. But here we are. It's nice for Georgia to get to that bye week. It's nice for Georgia to get to that bye week at 6-1, and go get ready for the second half of the season.
Yeah, no, you didn't want to have 2 losses at this point in the year in mid-October. So that's a big win, man. You're back in the national conversation right now.
Absolutely. But that's all I got, sir. We got a couple of games to watch here in the second half. A great night of college football left ahead of us. But yeah, we'll come back to you people live Monday at 7:00. This is a bye week, but we'll still be talking Georgia football here on Georgia Bulldogs Live. And please like, share, subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. But until next time, for that guy over there, Bo Underwood, I'm Matt Green. As always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the voice of college football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the voice of college football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.